so before I call this meeting to order, would Mr. Barry Yates please come forward and lead us in prayer?
Father, thank you for the beautiful day that you shared with us, and for the many blessings you give us, even though we're so undeserving. God, we're here tonight to consider the future of our schools and our children, and Lord, our students, and Lord, we just pray that you would guide in everything that's done and said. And Lord, we thank you for Ms. Sheffer, her leadership through the years, and Lord, we thank you for her faithfulness to the school and to you. God, we pray that the next superintendent, Lord, would be a person that is strong in faith, and Lord, that would continue to lead in the right direction. Lord, forgive us for our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Yates. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. The first item will be approval of contract with KSBA for superintendent search services. You have a hard copy in front of you. I know it was in the portal, but I figured you would want a hard copy to look it over before making the motion. Is there any questions or concerns that any of you have? I'll give you guys a few minutes.
Amy, I did have a question for you. Are we okay, budget-wise to take on the extra, what is it, $7,000 or so for utilizing KSBA?
I think it's reasonable for general fund right now, at the moment, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm assuming we probably used this service in the past?
Yes, we have.
I'm guessing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's been a positive
It
experience.
has. It's very worthwhile.
Cause the alternative is what, us trying to come up with and still meet all the guidelines ourselves? Okay.
Yes. Okay, if there's not any more questions, do I have a motion to approve the contract with KSBA for the superintendent search?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. Hagan made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gadden made a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item is explanation of superintendent search process.
Let me give every one of you a photo here. Thank you. Been sitting around talking to people here, and it's amazing the connections you make. Barry, from Lyon County, where I'm from.
Oh.
And, I hadn't seen him in years, so I didn't recognize him. He probably didn't recognize me either. I forgot your name.
Ms.
man.
Catlin.
Ms. Catlin knows a lot of people I know, so, I mean, the world has gotten smaller all the time, it really does. So, let me first of all say thank you for having confidence in Kentucky School Board Association to allow us to help you through this search process. And it is a process. I don't, how many of you, as board members, have served in the capacity as a board member during a superintendent search? You, not just one. So it is a process. It's not that you accept applications and you hire somebody the next day. So we're going to talk about that process here. So let you know who you're working with. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I think you deserve that. My name is Quinn Sutton, and I ran off and forgot to bring my cards, okay? But I do not reside in Frankfort. I reside in Lyon County. I've grown up and lived in Lyon County my entire life. So I'm from Western Kentucky. I'm a retired educator after 29 years. I've been retired now 7 years. Can you believe that, Ms. Shepard?
No, I can't.
7 years
Time
I've been
flies.
retired. I mean, it's just flown by. I started out my career as an ag teacher in Lyon County. Got involved in administration, was an assistant principal and athletic director there. Then I went on to Caldwell, was principal at the middle school for some years and served in the capacity of Caldwell in the central office as DPP and director of federal programs, assistant superintendent. Then went back to Lyon County and served as superintendent, and ended my career in McCracken County as a superintendent. So the last 9 years I served as superintendent in Lyon and McCracken County. So that's who you're dealing with here. I've been through this process that side as a superintendent, and now I see the process on the side of the school board members. So I've seen both sides of it, okay? So, at any point in time that you have questions, stop me. This is very informal. I wanna make sure that you're good with what we're saying and understand the process we use at KSBA. And it's the same process pretty well that's used statewide. There's 2 other consultants in the state of Kentucky. My region runs from Fulton County up to Breckinridge County, Ohio County, down to Logan County in that area. Then we have another consultant that does the southeastern mountain areas, and then we have another consultant that does the Louisville, northern Kentucky area. So basically the same process is used throughout the state, and Kentucky School Board Association is involved. So the first thing, you have this agenda here. I'm gonna go through this. So if you go to the 3rd page in your packet, it will look like an overview of superintendent search process. It has nine items on it. Number 1 is conduct a planning meeting with the board. That's what we're doing tonight. So tonight, we're going to discuss several things. We're going to talk about your timeline. We're going to talk about the candidate criteria. We're going to talk about the screening committee. And we're going to talk about the charge you're going to give to the screening committee. So all that takes place tonight. All right. Number 2, develop the advertisement. So tonight, we're going to develop that advertisement. I've got a sample advertisement in here that we'll work from, but we're going to develop that advertisement. Number 3, advertise. So the advertisement for the job actually goes through Kentucky School Board Association. It's posted at the KEPS website, so I want to ask Mr. Jackson, and let me say, he's been tremendous working with Evan. Talked to him several times in the last week, so he's great. So whoever your person is that posts jobs on the KEPS website.
Personnel.
Okay, that probably need to be done now. We're gonna post a job at KSBA tomorrow, okay? So, we're gonna advertise the job, and you're gonna determine how many days. Typical is 30 days, all right? That's typical for most districts. So I'm gonna use the word 30 days through this, but you can change that, okay? And I'm gonna use that as we go through the sheet of paper. So we'll say we advertise for 30 days. Number 4, work with the district to establish a screening committee. While that job is being advertised, we're gonna put together the screening committee. Okay, and we're probably gonna talk in detail about the screening committee here in a minute. It's my understanding that Mr. Jackson will be the one that probably does all the communications in the district with, working with me to get that established, okay? So that's gonna be taking place at the same time the job is being advertised. Number 5, we assemble all the materials needed for the screening committee at every meeting. Number 6, we're gonna meet with the board and screening committee to discuss the details. What you decide tonight, after the job is posted for 30 days, and after the screening committee is put in place, you're gonna meet with the screening committee real briefly. And you're gonna give them the direction, the criteria that you want, how many you want to recommend back to you from the screening committee. And that'll be done after the 30-day posting. And we're gonna decide that date tonight that we're gonna be back, okay? So that's at meeting 2. You're gonna meet with the board and the screening committee is gonna discuss the details. Number 7, work with the screening committee to develop a list of recommended candidates. That will be a start at meeting number 2. And there'll be a meeting 3 and 4 is only screening committee. So after the board meets with the screening committee at meeting 2, the board adjourns, the screening committee stays, they start their work of screening the candidates at meeting 2. Then they have meeting 3 and 4 alone, and then they come back to you at meeting at bullet number 8. They meet with the board and screening committee to review recommended candidates. You take their recommendations, and then you begin your work on number 9, work with the board with the search process. So this is typically kind of how it looks. Went through all that, I'm gonna give it to you in a nutshell. So tonight's the planning meeting. We advertise the job, the screening committee is being put together within the next 30 days. I use 30 because you can change that number, okay, but that's typical. At the end of that 30 days, the board meets with the screening committee on what we call the first joint meeting. You give the screening committee your directive. The board dismisses. The screening committee stays that night, and they receive all the applicants at that time. They start screening these applicants. They do that at the end of meeting 2. They do that at meeting 3. They do that at meeting 4. At the end of meeting 4, they have narrowed the candidate pool down to the number that you have told them to narrow it down to. Then at meeting 5, they meet back with you. They give you the recommendations. And then you start your process of going through all the applications and look at those candidates that they recommend, and you interview and hire your superintendent and sign the contract. Okay? So that's kind of the process we use. Any questions about the process?
I'm curious about the screening committee. How does it put together?
We're gonna go over every minute of that hopefully in about 20 minutes.
You're good. We
Okay.
ask a lot of questions.
And that's fine. We'll get there, and, it's dictated in law, how it's done, and we'll go through each one, okay?
Fair enough.
Any other questions?
At some point, will we know before the screening committee gets back to us with a list? Do we know how many, hey, we had
You'll know how many,
so-and-so
at the next meeting,
candidates?
I will tell you how many you have, how many of them are male, female, how many of them are in-state, out-of-state, how many of them are currently superintendents, how many of them are currently in the central office, how many of them are principals, okay? The only person that's a board member that will know the names of the applicants at that point in time is the board member that serves on the screening committee. That gives the screening committee the ability to do their screening without any type of outside interference. And then at the end of the process, the board gets all applicants, and you can interview whoever you want to at that time. Okay?
So it's kind of like site-based. They will screen and give you members they recommend, but if you're not happy with all those, you can always pull back into the other applicants.
So the next thing on the agenda is the timeline. So if you look in your folder, the next sheet of paper is, looks like this right here. So, advertising begins and the screening committee starts to be organized tomorrow. So you can put out there beside that, February the 2nd. I called KSBA yesterday and asked them, I said, if we get this together tonight, can you all post it tomorrow? And they said, yeah, they'll post it tomorrow. So KELPS will be put on the KELPS site tomorrow, and it'll be put on KSBA at the same time. Okay, so applications close. That's a decision for the board to make. If it's 30 days, it's March the 3rd. But that's a decision you'll have to make now. If you want it less than 30, I will say 30 is usually a good number because it takes a while to put the screening committee together, okay? You've got to kind of get into your question, Ms. Lane. You know, you've got a board member, a principal, 2 teachers, a classified member, and a parent. And then if the district's more than 8% minority, and a minority is not elected on the first original 6, you have to hold a special election. So sometimes it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get the committee together itself. So that's another good reason to potentially at least go 30 days for the posting. But you don't have to. The law says 15. That's a quick turnaround.
That why rush it, in my opinion.
I think at least 30 days is a good way to do it.
I do
I'm
too.
fine with 30, yeah.
Okay. So applications will close March the 3rd. So I've got my calendar open. The joint meeting from the board and screening committee. So all board members will need to be at that meeting. The screening committee is going to be at that meeting. The board's only going to meet for about 15 minutes with the screening committee that night, and then they're going to dismiss. The only board member that stays is the board member that is on the screening committee afterwards. So that, I would, so if the application's closed, let me give you two synopsises I've looked at through these days. I read somewhere in a news article that y'all wanna hire somebody on May 1st. Is that pretty, did I read that? Did you write that newspaper I read?
It was in the Sturgis News, I
Mhm.
did.
It was online, so I don't know where. It's May 1 kind of target date. We'll go down there to the bottom and work our way backwards. Is
Quinn,
that-
can I interrupt you? I put that date there and just put that out there for them at the last meeting because we had talked about when I took my last contract, I would tell them in January, whatever year I decided to retire, but they had talked at that point that they would like the month of June where I could be here with that person if they had questions, because for 90 days I can't do anything once you retire.
Yeah.
So that was out there then, but I don't know if that's still, you know, the feel of the group, so the board members need to let you know. If they still want May 1st, June 1st, whatever, but that was the original date, and I gave them just a brief timeline last time, like a preliminary from the board attorney.
Well, May 1 is very, that's the date that you want, it's very easy. We can accomplish that and not rush the process.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that.
Yeah.
Yes.
A week or two or three, and then
Yes.
you'd still be here until.
I think that's,
Mhm.
yes,
And if you're not ready to hire by May 1st, you don't have to hire that day.
right.
And
Yeah, I'm good with that as our target date too.
And if you're ready to hire before then, you can always hire before that. So May 1, okay? So here's a couple scenarios that I've looked at. Depending on how quick the board wants to move on this. So I'm just penciling these dates in. I'm working with Owensboro and Davies County too as superintendent searches right now. So some of my nights have already been taken. So either, I've got March 7th written down as probably the joint meeting with the board of screening committee. It doesn't have to be the 7th, I can meet the 6th or the 8th.
What is that on?
The 7th is a Thursday. I can meet the 6th, 7th, or 8th. I just wrote down 7th to give me an idea of what we were probably looking at.
I'm good with any of those 3 days that week.
Y'all will come back from KSBA on that Saturday the 2nd, is that following
Mhm.
Thursday?
I'm good with the 7th.
Yeah.
My Thursdays usually work pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm out of town for work, but the 8th is wide open. I don't know, can we do a noon on Friday?
The problem with the noon, you're gonna probably have to have a night meeting because you don't know who the parent's gonna be as a screen committee.
That's a joint meeting, isn't it?
And they're gonna have, all the screen committee's gonna be here. You got 2 teachers and classified and you got a parent. So this next one have to be a night
Sports
meeting.
event or something, I don't know, Friday. If it's a sporting event or something, like if it's a parent, you know.
What day are you here?
Yeah, you're gonna probably hit basketball, Regions District
That's
somewhere.
what I'm
What-
saying, so
What
maybe.
days are you here that week?
What days are you,
Do you have any days that
Greg.
week you are?
I'm looking to see if I'll be back that evening on mine. I'm trying to get the whole agenda pulled up here.
Okay. Cause if there's a different
And
day.
also remember, if you have a sporting event, we could probably meet at 5.
I can be back Thursday night, I'm sorry, I can't be back Thursday.
okay,
We could meet at 5.
at 5?
I
And
can be back.
that way, if you have a
I'm
sporting
coming
meeting
from
to
this,
go
so.
to, if you're
Okay.
not serving on the screening committee, you wouldn't have, you'd be done at 5:15 that night. If you're on the screening committee, you're gonna be here a long time.
Yeah, that's why I said, I
I'll
think
be
it
done
needs
at
to be
noon,
probably
noon
Thursday
minutes,
instead of
so I'll be
Friday.
back by mid-afternoon.
Okay,
that's
so
just
he
my
can do
suggestion.
March 7th.
All right,
Are you
March
good,
7th.
Lanya?
Yeah, I'm good.
Donnie?
Yep, I'm good with that date.
March 7th.
6 o'clock would be probably better for me, but like he said, if whoever the parent is screening, I mean, I can make 5 work, I mean.
Don't tell me what time.
what-
Yeah, we set the time and date, so whatever you want.
I'm good with whatever.
5:30, middle.
5:30.
5:30 would be
You'd
better.
rather have 5:30?
Yeah, it's
5:30
fine. I mean,
now?
it's just, you're getting more daylight now, so it's a little harder for me to.
Okay,
Early.
But I mean, something this big, I mean, like Randy must be here.
okay. So March,
Big deal
So
here.
get mine.
March 7th at 5:30?
Yeah, 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah, 5:30.
And I told Miss Shepherd this morning, the week of the 11th to the 15th, and this works out really good anyway, because we'll probably skip that week. My youngest daughter's getting married on the 16th, my wife told him this He said, the week of the 11th to the 15th, you cannot have any meetings. So I told Owensboro, Davidson County, I said, I can't meet that week, or I'm gonna have a divorce.
Yeah.
So,
Congratulations to your daughter.
Yeah.
thank you. I've got 3 kids, and she's the last one to get married, so. So, the week of the 18th to the 21st, I'm in Davies County 2 nights that week, but I'm open the 19th, 20th, or 22nd.
That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday,
Wednesday
Wednesday,
or
or
Friday.
Friday.
We have a regular board meeting on the 19th.
And let me also say this, okay? I've got 2 scenarios right here. I had March 7th as, let me just go through these, and I'm just giving you dates. These dates are gonna be a little
1, 2, 3,
fluctuated.
4. It's the 25th.
So on my scenario, I have 2 different ones. We could meet the week of March 18th. I'm just saying that week. And then one scenario is to meet March 20, and around March 26th and 28th, and you have all applicants in your hands by March 28th. Or if you wanted to give the screening committee a little more time, we could meet the week of March 18th. And then they could meet the week after spring break on April the 9th and April 11th, and we could have a meeting on April 11th, and you would have all the names then. So I don't know how quick you want your names. Either one of those will work and be able to hire somebody by May 1. Okay? So as long as the names are to you by mid-April, it gives you over 2 weeks to hire a superintendent. So I would like the names from the screening committee to you by mid-April. We can do it as quick as the end of March, if that's what the board wants to do, we can work out dates.
So after the board has all the names, say mid-April, then the board would still conduct interviews with those people. So you're scheduling interviews around their schedules and the that candidate schedules. So that might delay if you do mid-April and you want a name by May 1st.
Typically, they will clear their schedule for you.
They better.
Yeah.
They will do everything they can to get
It's
here.
getting you all together, cause you want that 10 person.
I would probably,
Well, I'm kind of looking at that tentative schedule you put out, Patricia, April 1st, that week where the board and the committee met. That works that week, you'll still have time to name it on the 1st of May.
The only thing is,
That's early. That's late.
spring break week, I don't know if anybody's gonna be out of town.
I think that's a little late.
April 1st to the 5th is your spring break, and you don't know about parents and teachers.
That's what I'm saying, with the
They're
committee, I don't
probably gonna
know.
be out of-
I'd hate for the community to be serving and taking this real serious and not be able to be there for that.
I would, in my opinion, would like to see the names at least be in March, sometime the end of March than mid-April myself.
So you think the week after the 8th or the week before that?
The 18th, the week.
The 18th.
Is the first,
Of
the next
March.
meeting you're
I'd
talking.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
But does that give screening committee enough time to?
Here's, let me kind of explain what's gonna take place, that's a good question. March 7th, they're gonna get the name, they're gonna start going through applications. So depending on how many applications you have, depends on really how much time it is, we don't know that. Okay? So from the 7th to, I'm just using the 19th, okay, that's enough days for them to go through applications, okay? That's ample time. The 19th, if the board wants the names back before spring break starts, they would have to make from the 19th, I'm just using the next date, it's essentially the 26th. It gives them a week to call these candidates and to call references.
What about looking at, 25th, would you do it right in, coincide with our regular board meeting?
Well, the screening committee be by themselves on that meeting, okay?
Oh, okay.
So that would exclude a board member.
I think he's talking about the third one.
The third,
You say,
Unless-
where they're
unless-
making recommendations finalized to the board, for the board, or is that?
the board won't meet again until the joint meeting between the board and the
Okay.
screening committee.
Okay, never mind.
So, if y'all can tell me, do you want names before spring break, or you want them after?
I would,
Before,
I would like them before that, I want more than 2 weeks to be able to make that final decision. If we need to call an extra meeting with the candidate, I want to have enough time, that's just my opinion. If we, is it 3 interviews, is that correct?
Yeah, that'll be up to the board here, man, we're gonna decide that.
That's why I was saying maybe that, March 25th, we'd have our joint meeting with the committee and receive the applicant names on that day.
I don't think you're gonna be able to get there to the 25th, you might be able to get there about the 28th. I'll explain that.
Do that week?
All right, let me ask you this, so you're wanting before spring break, is March 19th the date that's open for everyone?
What's that on?
It's on a Tuesday.
We're all here anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to be here
That's our
that
working
day
session.
anyways.
That's our working session.
Okay,
Yeah,
we would have to
At
meet.
noon, we'd be here, but we can meet
It's
that
just
night.
I mean, I apologize, the only person that has to be there at night is the board member that's gonna serve on the screen.
On
That's
19th.
appointed by
me,
chair.
right.
So, I don't want you showing your cards yet, but.
Yeah.
But,
Is March 19th a noon meeting?
That's the working session.
That's our
We
working
meet.
session.
so, we would have to have that meeting in the afternoon or in the evening, because you got your parents and everything. So-
Right.
Mhm.
So March 19th, let's just put it down then as the
second.
second screening committee meeting.
Okay.
And I'll put it again in at 5:30. All right? So, the third screening committee meeting, you've got to give time for the screening committee to call the candidates
Right.
and check references. So I was thinking March 26th, that gives them a week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then that only includes, the third screening committee only includes the screening committee.
Mhm.
We'll say 5:30 again. And then,
On the 26th, does all of us need to be there that day? I won't be available on the
No.
26th.
just the
No.
screen.
just the screening committee.
No,
I'm available 25th or 27th.
you don't have to be at that one.
If
Okay.
it's-
And so I was thinking, so after the 26th, after the screening committee decides who they're gonna recommend to the board, they need a day to just to prepare their presentation for you. So I was thinking they could meet back again on the 28th with the board, if the board is available, to
What's
give
that?
their
Thursday,
recommendations.
Thursday.
You'll be here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, everything's.
Is that,
I can do the 28th, I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do it.
and that way you get the names before spring break.
okay.
Donnie, are you good with the 28th? Hope you heard that.
Yes.
Okay, just wanna make sure you heard it.
And I promise you, this is the hardest part of the night, is to get this calendar together, okay? It always is, because you've got multiple people with multiple calendars and, so let's go through this and make sure that we're clear. So advertising begins and screening committee organized tomorrow, February the 2nd. Applications closed March the 3rd. The joint meeting of the board and screening committee would be March the 7th at 5:30. The second screening committee meeting will be March 19th. And right now I'm saying 5:30 because we don't know who the parent is. The third screening committee would be March the 26th at 5:30. And then the joint meeting between the board and screening committee, when the board gets the recommendations, will be March 28th at 5:30. So okay with everybody's calendar?
Yeah, I can make that work.
Okay. So that works out well. It gives you a month from the time you get their names to you set your tentative date to hire superintendent, so it should give you plenty of time. Okay. Go back and look at these dates one more time.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
At that March 28th meeting, when they make their recommendations, will those be public or will that be a closed session?
It's a closed session when they make their recommendations. It is up to the board whether they make the names public after.
I just wanted to double check that.
But everything, when we talk about candidates, will be in closed session.
Including March 7th will be closed.
The first part of March 7th, when the board meets with the screening committee, that's open to the public. As soon as that meeting is adjourned and the screening committee starts their meeting, that goes into closed session, because we're only talking about candidates.
Right.
Cause there could be a candidate who's out.
So-
Mhm.
I missed a little bit of that. So the candidate's name,
State.
they will be private, right?
Mhm.
They'll probably, as long as the board wants them to stay
I
private.
want it to be private
Mhm.
myself.
Unless you all decide at some point in time, that you're gonna narrow that down to 3 or 4, and you wanna announce those names. Some districts do, some don't.
I remember, and Donnie was in the class with me a year ago, that was something they really stressed, was to keep everything confidential as much as possible throughout the whole process.
Yes.
Is what I remember them
Yes.
saying.
So
'Cause you may have a current-
some boards decide to release the names after they decide who they're gonna interview. I don't recommend that, but that's a board decision.
I think all
Yeah,
the
I
times
seen
we
it
went,
be, I don't want to be walking down Walmart and somebody yelling at me, hey, y'all need to hire such.
I think that every time in the past, we've always kept it confidential through the
That's how
whole
I feel.
Up
way.
until the,
I think
up
it's,
until we hire the
Yes,
person, and that's when. they-
absolutely. And
Sounds
because
great.
there's a superintendent out there that may interview that,
Current superintendent.
that is a current superintendent somewhere else,
Sure.
and you don't wanna do that to them,
Exactly.
True,
you know?
that's true.
And that might hinder them for even applying if they're, you know, if they know that it's not gonna be confidential.
True.
That's a very true statement. Yeah.
I like our
Now-
timeline because it's so narrow, because
Yeah.
also there's a limited number of candidates that are looking to be a superintendent.
Mhm.
Yes,
You know, and
Yes,
we're in a market here, we're competing against other schools.
Right.
so
that's right.
I
absolutely.
like our days here,
I think so
in
too.
my opinion.
Mhm.
Now, as far as confidentiality, I stress this all the way through the process with the screening committee. Confidentiality does get out a little bit when you start making reference calls, because when you make a reference call to somebody, whoever you're talking to pretty well knows that person applied.
Mhm.
But what I tell the screening committee is, you can't, if a member of the community comes up and says that so-and-so applied, you can't confirm that. That you have to say politely, you know,
Personnel.
this is personnel, and I have to remain confidential in this process, okay? So, we will stress confidentiality throughout the entire process, I can promise you that. In fact, they sign a confidentiality agreement, the screening committee does, when they start this process. And I keep that. Okay, so timeline is set. Again, I said that was probably gonna be the most difficult part of tonight's meeting, it usually is. The next thing on the agenda, it talks about salary, candidate criteria, and recruitment and advertisement. Those 5 things kind of go hand in hand. So when you look at this document right here, the next item in your folder, that's what's actually gonna be posted at KSBA. Once you approve what we put on there. This is a template. Because if I just came up with a blank page, we could be here all night trying to decide what we want to put in this, and I didn't think you probably wanted to be here all night. So, the first paragraph in this are the criteria that you will decide what you want to look for in a superintendent. Again, this is just an example. We'll talk more about that in a minute. The second paragraph is just about Union County itself, and this is me speaking. This is what I think of when I think of Union County. I'm not a member of here, so you probably will want to change the second paragraph on what it reads, okay? The third paragraph is a one sentence, and it says the salary will be negotiable. You can use any word that you want to use there. The negotiable is just there. Then it tells how the candidate is to apply. And then on the back page, it says application deadline is, and I have question marks, and we've decided that it's going to be March the 3rd.
March 3rd.
March 3rd.
So I can mark out question marks, put March 3rd. So, in a minute, I'm gonna be quiet for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna let you read through this advertisement, decide what you wanna keep, any of it. You can start from scratch, or any amendments that you wanna make to this advertisement. The next page in your folder are some sample criteria. If you don't like the wording of the criteria, what you're looking for, the superintendent, there's some other terminology that you can look at on the next page. So go through there, read it, And, once I see everybody eyes come up, we'll start having a discussion on what we want the advertisement to look at. Before I get quiet, I looked up on the KDE website, 2100, is that pretty well what the
200.
enrollment is?
And we actually have, high school, middle school, 3 elementary. We have alternative school, which I assume you're just including that, and within high school. And then we also have a Victory Tech High School and Job Corps campus.
Okay, so that's the reason why I got question marks up there. I didn't know how to, well, that's the staff members. So go ahead and back, Ms. Shepherd.
We
what
have
you
high
said?
school,
Okay,
middle school, 3 elementaries,
okay.
Victory Tech High School on Job Corps campus.
So that's on Job Corps,
It's actually our school,
Victor Tech, what,
high school,
high school? Okay,
and an alternative school.
Do we need to list anything about the preschool?
Do you include preschool or not?
are they included in the elementary schools, or is that where they're housed, or are they
They're
separate?
house separate. So you
I
might,
probably would, include them. How many preschools do you?
we have one preschool. It's actually located within our high school. It's in the lower level of the high school.
Okay.
100 students. So. But we do have funding for that from state preschool, so you might want to list it if it's a A1 school. The preschool, alternative schools, then the A1 schools. So. Alternative schools
I'll read
A5.
back what we put on here to make sure.
Right.
y'all are good.
Alternative schools at A5 school and Victory Tech's A6. And staff right now, I think we're at 3.
Approximately 400.
It's approximately 400.
Is that certified and classified?
Yes, together. Most of the time, when superintendent's looking, they're looking at number of students, like student enrollment as far as.
I have 2 suggestions that I don't know exactly where they would fit, but.
Okay.
I would like the description, passionate about education.
Okay.
And then also meeting the needs of the staff. I see where it says student centered, but I think it needs to also say, to be there for staff as well.
Okay.
Do y'all agree or?
I do agree.
Yeah.
I like the candidate criteria, like honesty and integrity, ethics and morals, effective people skills.
Yeah, I agree with that. Them are big words.
Honesty and integrity,
Also,
They're
there's
in
in here,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Being a role model, that's important too.
Mhm.
That I see in here.
I'd like to amp up the line about curriculum instruction and assessments, and maybe just put some more description in there, like he or she should be focused and invested in curriculum instruction. So just understanding it, we want somebody focused and invested. I'd like to know, just a couple words that came to me.
Okay, so let's go back to the one that, Ms. Markey said about passionate about education and.
Meet
So,
needs of all
staff.
staff,
So
yeah.
how do you want that? I usually word it just how you all tell me how to word it, okay? So,
I ain't been in
Where
school
would
in
you
a
like
while,
to-
sir.
what
but
would you-
just
I
see.
think she said where it says student center is important. They can't be an active member of the community and be student and staff.
And staff.
And staff centered, yeah.
I mean, I think that's what you just mentioned where it says student center, right?
Yeah,
It's hard to find it once you get your eyes off of it.
and then passionate about education, what would you want?
Maybe it up here with innovative, common, motivational, and
Yeah,
passionate.
take out and, innovative motivation.
Where's that at?
The first sentence, innovative, calm, motivational, and passionate leader.
Yeah.
Innovative, motivational, and passionate leader.
Mhm.
Okay. And then somebody said something about a role model. Mr. Hagan, you said
Well,
something.
I was just, you ain't got to put that in there.
Well, you could, in front of honesty and integrity, you could put, serve as a role model, displaying honesty and integrity, something.
How about, something like, cultivates a collaborative workplace?
Mr. Gatton, where would you want that? Where would you want to add that in?
Right in that area that you guys were just talking about.
The top, innovative.
Is he talking about the honesty?
I
and
think
integrity
after
one?
honesty and integrity sentence. is what it-
Yes, yes.
Okay.
What was the terminology you used there?
Did we ever get role model in there yet?
Not really.
No?
Cultivates
Yeah.
a collaborative workplace.
All right, we haven't got the role model in. Or you want it, where would y'all want to hear that?
I'll let these people that are
How about
smarter than me.
the successful candidate should have administrative experience and be an instructional leader and role model? Does that work? I think it's the second sentence. Well, I don't know how many you added, but it's the second sentence on the original.
After corrupt college and career readiness, is that what you're saying?
No, like,
Before,
the successful candidate should have administrative experience and be an instructional leader and role model. That's, I was just throwing it in as an example, where you can maybe insert it.
Of course, when that comes to my mind, when role model comes to my mind, I think of for your staff, you know, you set the example, the
You set
bar.
the- You
and
set
Oh, I
the
like
standard,
it.
yes. Mhm. Well, for students and staff.
Students.
I'm trying, I think probably role model needs to go in with the sentence with honesty and integrity somewhere around that area, but I don't know how to word it in there. Do you all agree with that or not? It kind of goes hand in hand with honesty and integrity, I
Honesty and
think.
integrity are also.
But I don't know how to word it.
You could.
How about honesty and integrity are also key characteristics the board is seeking in a candidate who will also serve as a role model.
Who will serve as a
Or
role
will
model,
serve.
yeah. What were you gonna say, Abby?
Okay.
I was gonna say you could add another sentence and say the candidate serves as a role model for the students and staff.
Sure, you could add another sentence in there.
Okay, I'm gonna go, well, let me go back and read what I think we've said so far, okay? The Union County Board of Education is seeking an innovative, motivational, and passionate leader with strong proven leadership and a record of improving student achievement as its next superintendent. The successful candidate should have administrative experience and be an instructional leader who is committed to college and career readiness. It is important for the candidate to be a member of the community and be student and staff centered. He or she should be focused and invested in curriculum,
Yes.
instruction and assessments. Honesty and integrity are also key characteristics the board is seeking in the next, maybe I've messed up. Honesty and integrity are also key characteristics the board is seeking in a candidate who will also serve as a role model. Is that over here?
Who will serve, you can take also out,
Yeah,
who
just
will
take
serve
it.
as a,
Okay. The next superintendent shall cultivate a collaborative workplace, knowledge knowledge of budgeting, school finances, buildings and grounds, along with a working knowledge of the Kentucky education system are required. So, repeat back basically what you wanted to say.
I like it.
I do too.
Is there anything else from a student perspective that you think you need to see in the superintendent that's not mentioned yet?
I think you could, I'm gonna say, you could say that they're devoted to the students, but it says be student-centered, so it's pretty much the same thing.
Should we say anything in there about family when we talk about students to include parents? I don't know.
Or you could
What do
just
you
put
think?
all shareholders or all stakeholders somewhere. Cause you're
So,
saying,
engages parents, community members are on that line.
because I think there was something about community member, be an active member of the community.
Yeah, I think the community kinda covers that.
Be an active.
Yeah, you're right, that should cover that.
I think it's good. I'm good with it. Yes, sir.
All right.
Got
Well,
anything, Abby?
just wondering, this is just me,
Wow.
cause I know where our, revenue comes from in Union County, it's agriculture and mining. I just wonder if you all feel like we should, where it says the community is known for its productive agriculture land and beautiful. Something about mining in the
mining.
rural setting, I don't know, that's
Mhm.
just a thought.
I agree.
Maybe not. Beautiful. Agriculture, land, and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say put that in there.
So what are you saying, Ms. Sheffield?
Where it's talking about the productive agriculture land, we need to add something about coal mining or mining. Communities.
The community
Or
known
strong.
for its coal production and productive agricultural land.
Yes,
How about that?
yes, I think so.
It's
I
mean, because that's-
succinctly.
When people ask me, that's the two things I mentioned, like, we have some businesses, but
Mhm.
most of even our businesses wrap around ag or mining.
Coal and corn.
Yeah.
So the community is known for its co-production, productive agricultural land, and beautiful rural settings.
Sounds good.
And let me make sure I've got the Union County Public Schools consist of one high school, one middle school, 3 elementary, 1 preschool, 1 alternative school, and Victory Tech High School at Morganfield.
Job
Corps.
Corps campus, on Morganfield Job Corps campus.
Or Earl C. Clement.
Yeah, Earl C. Clements,
Might
that's
say
right.
that, because
Yes,
people
'cause I
recognize
think
that name.
broad-
Earl C. Clement.
Somebody may apply from Missouri,
On
somebody.
Earl,
Earl C.
Clements
Clements Job Corps Academy.
Earl Joe Clement Job Corps.
Earl C.
Just appear,
Earl C.
Earl C.
Clemens.
Earl C. Job Corps.
We should also, I'm sorry, what, are you done? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, like, right? We talk about Union County's close proximity to Evansville, Indiana, which is, I think that's critical, we definitely need to do that. But also, you know, we're the only county in Kentucky that borders Illinois and Indiana.
True,
We've got a bridge going right over to Illinois. That may be important to some candidates.
that's right, cause there might be some from Illinois coming.
So you
Because,
put that after that sentence,
Mhm.
Union County.
What about tri-state, man?
Union County is connected to.
you could say borders Evansville,
Yeah.
and Indiana and Illinois.
Borders.
Union County is in close proximity to Evansville, Indiana, and borders to Illinois.
Union County borders both Illinois and
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, how about that, we'll just
Yes.
reverse it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Union County borders
Just add
Both
another
Both.
one.
Illinois.
Both, yeah.
Illinois and Indiana, and is in close proximity to Evansville.
Mhm.
Because that'd be the closest major.
So, anything else on this before I read it back to you on the second paragraph?
Did we ever say how many staff?
400.
Roughly 400.
Approximately 400.
Okay.
Union County is located on the Ohio River with Morganfield being the county seat. The community is known for its co-production, productive agricultural land, and beautiful rural settings. Union County is, can you read on the right?
Union County borders,
Borders, Union County borders,
both.
both Illinois and Indiana, and is in close proximity to Evansville. County Public Schools, I've already read that, so. That's right.
Should we say something about the bridge to Illinois? I mean, we direct, you gotta go over county over to get to Indiana. technically. I don't know if that's
Because
important or
Henderson's
not,
there.
but a lot of people don't.
I always say it sits in the middle,
They can look it up.
Henderson, Owensboro, and
If they're not familiar, they can do that.
like it's always between Owensboro, Evansville, Paducah is the way it sits
A
in the
good
center.
candidate's gonna research you.
They're gonna
You
find
should
it.
research
They're gonna
Yeah.
come down.
Yeah, you wanna see how much they know about you.
So the next sentence says the salary will be negotiable, and that's up to the board how you want to word that. It can be a variety of things, it can be commensurate, negotiable, competitive, it can give a range.
I think negotiable is just plain and simple, I like that.
Yeah.
That's what most boards use, gives you some flexibility, don't lock you into anything,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Right.
So,
So in this description, will the, education requirements not be, will that just go like whenever they actually click on it? Is that not something that needs to be?
they're going,
Be part of the
the requirement for them to be, to take this job is to be certified as a superintendent in the state of Kentucky. They have that on their teaching certificate, that's the certification they have to have. They can have anything else they want, if they don't have that, they can't take this job. Like, they can apply, but they can't hold the job.
Is that just like common knowledge to people that would apply?
Mhm.
It doesn't, it's not anything that needs to be stated? Okay,
Let everybody know.
I was just-
Yeah.
I was just.
That's a regulatory requirement.
And it's on the education professional standards.
Okay.
So if we
I have
have
seen
questions,
some.
somebody applies, we can always pull it up and see.
Okay,
I have seen some people apply that were superintendents in neighboring states that do not have the certification in Kentucky at that time, but can get the certification. But before they do, so if the board was gonna hire them, they would have to make sure that person could get Kentucky certification.
all right.
All right, is everybody good with the advertisement? Okay.
Could you send us, whenever you're gonna do this tonight, it sounds like you're gonna post it
I
tomorrow.
don't know.
Can you email us a copy just to look at it?
I get everybody's email address.
Or through Evan, you gonna communicate with them?
I sent it to Evan and then.
Yeah, he can
send it to
Is
us.
that okay?
Thank you.
And that'll be the same thing that's posted on FAMS?
Yes, this will be posted on, no, I'm sorry. You can use any wording that you want to, any part of this you want to use, you can use. They ask for a contact person. Typically, and that's done right away, you can put yourself in contact, you can put me, you can put both of us. So it's how you want to do it, how you get to do it. But a lot of people put the wording that we put in here about the candidate criteria and part of it. Okay, we are down now to, just real quickly, about number 5, advertisement and the website. Again, this job is posted at Kentucky School Board Association, so all the applications come in at Kentucky School Board. It's another reason why it's really, it's good to use an outside source, because it does keep confidentiality. There's nobody in this central office, and I'm not saying anything about anybody in anybody's central office, but nobody here's gonna know, okay? When I bring the applications by electronic file at the next meeting, there's only 2 people who know who was applied at that time. It's a lady named Mary Ann Marshall in Frankfurt who receives all these applications, forwards them to me. I don't even see them till the day when she sends them to me. And me. So when I come back, 2 people know who have applied for this job, her and me. And then that night, the screening committee gets them, so it goes to 6 people or 7 more. Okay, so there's no leaks at all. Okay. All right, number 6, and also on the web, a lot of people want to know, do you have, is this nationwide? I've had in other districts, the furthest applicant I have had apply for any job, I've been doing this for 5 years now, I think it's Montana. That was the furthest place. I would think, and I don't know, but I would think if you being close to Illinois and Indiana, that you might get some applicants across the river to apply here. Don't know that for sure, but I would think you might. Okay, so it is posted at the state level, and it's viewed nationally by a lot of people.
Is that the communication communication between the different state associations? Is that?
A lot of, there's a place that you can go on to the website and look at Kentucky School Board Associations. You can click on a state and see what other jobs are posted, so they can do the same to us.
Yeah, and headhunters will do that too. If there's a headhunter, they'll look at all
So they
that.
exist in this industry too.
Yes. They'll call you and say, have you looked, I mean, I got one from Oregon the other day. So, yeah.
Yeah.
They reach out.
The internet has made the world really small.
Yes, it has, so, but once it gets on KSBA, it'll spread.
Yeah.
And they'll start looking.
Okay, the screening committee, and I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because I'm gonna be talking to Evan a lot, okay? Screening committee, this is your question, Mr. Hagan. So, first of all, why is there a screening committee? Well, in my opinion, there's two reasons. One is a legal reason, and then the other is an opinion. The legal reason, the KRS 160.352 says you must have a screening committee, okay? And it's very specific on who has to be on it. The other part to me that's more important than the legal reason is that you get input from a variety of stakeholders. You get them from your teachers, you get them from classified, you get them from parents, you get it from a principal, and you have a board member that's sitting in on this whole process. So you get a lot of different viewpoints. So to me, that's the most important reason, is that you're gonna get input from your stakeholders. Realizing at the end of this process, the screening committee can recommend whoever. But at the end of the process, you as the board make that decision. And you can interview any or all the people they recommend, or none of them. And you can interview and hire someone they do not recommend. It is a total board decision at the end of the process. Understanding that you should give weight to the screening committee. Because I've worked, like I said, I've done this 5 years, and I've never worked with the screening committee yet that has not wanted the best superintendent for their school district. Most of them are serving the role, in that role, wanting the same thing as you as a board member, the best superintendent, okay? So, they've all got good hearts when they go through this process. So who is on the screening committee? Let's start with the easiest one. That's the board member, okay? The board member, and if you go through your folder, I have a description for each one of these, except the board member, because this is simple. The board member is appointed by you, Ms. Bowman. You can appoint yourself, or you can appoint any of the other board members. So that needs to be done at a board meeting and in the minutes. So,
Okay.
so the next board meeting, that needs to be an item on the agenda, and it needs to be recorded as an agenda, that you have appointed whoever, okay? So that one's simple, all right? The next one's fairly simple, principal. There's a description for each one of these that we're gonna talk about. The principal is elected by their, co-principals. So you have an elementary, 3 elementaries, a middle and a high school, and is there a principal at the alternative school?
Mhm.
So that would be.
No, there's a teacher leader there.
Teacher
It's
leader,
teacher
so
leader.
it would just be 5 principals. So at an administrative meeting, probably, or whenever they want to get together, they need to get together and elect one of their 5, to serve on this committee. It is not, cannot be an assistant principal. The only way it could be an assistant principal is if all 5 of these are going to be applying for the superintendent job. Okay? Has to be a principal. Questions always asked, or most of the time is asked, what if, and I have no idea who's applying for this job, okay? I'm just giving you what ifs. What if one of the principals is planning on applying for superintendent? Then in my opinion, and this is a committee of the board, it's not KSBA's board, okay? This is your committee.
Mhm.
I'll be working with Evan to get it established, okay? But it's the board's committee, and we just make recommendations. My recommendation is if you have a principal that's gonna apply for a superintendent job, they definitely can't be on the committee. They can't be on the screening committee, okay? But secondly, I would ask them to probably excuse themselves from voting for the principal member. They don't need they don't need to be any part of
Agreed.
this process,
Good point.
okay? They need to exclude themselves, which is gonna tip their hat, or they apply or not, okay? They can say, I'm considering applying, and say, I don't want to be part of this. They don't have to say they don't want to apply, they can say, I'm considering applying. So, they just really don't need to be, if they're gonna apply, they don't need to be any part of the process.
Can they, what if someone, the person selected, can they decline, or do they have to do it? Like, can they say, I don't wanna do it?
They don't have to do it.
So
Just
then,
They probably, you know, when they get together and meet, they're probably gonna have a discussion to say, you know, who's willing to do this, probably is what they're gonna ask first. And if they've got 2 or 3 people that are willing to do it, then they'll probably come down to a vote.
okay.
May only be one person that's willing to do it. It's a huge responsibility. They give a lot of their time.
That's what I said, I just wonder, like, if somebody, the main person that they want says no, and then what do you do if nobody?
We have 2 different times we meet with them, because we have a level 5 meeting with all principals, and then we also have a district administrative meeting where it's principals, so Evan and I can get them through that, and we know who has certification, who doesn't.
Okay.
Any questions about principals? So we got the board member and the principal, okay? Next is, we're gonna talk about the teacher, okay? So here's our recommendation. Again, this is your committee, as a board. Our recommendation is that you contact your local KEA president, whoever that is,
Julie Berry.
and share with them that the law says that there needs to be 2 teachers on this committee. We have, Evan, I'm kind of talking to you now, okay? We have examples of notifications that can be sent out to various back pages for teachers. If the KEA president wants it. If they don't want it, and they say, hey, we'll take care of this, let them take care of it, okay? If they say, hey, we'll take care of it, we need some help them however they need help, okay? So this is a sample wording that they could send out if they want to use this, okay? A few things on the teacher representative. It says notify. It needs to be done fairly so that everybody has the opportunity to be nominated and everybody has the opportunity to serve that wants that opportunity. So a teacher can nominate themselves or they can nominate somebody else. They can self-nominate, okay? This is usually not done. We recommend hard ballots. That's usually not done anymore. That's kind of old-fashioned. I still think it's the best because you hold them and you keep them until it's over. Most people use Google, I don't even know what it's called, Google survey. That's what I think I've started using before. Leave that up to the KA president. What we want it, like I said, again, it needs to be confidential. That person, whoever the KA president serves in that capacity, does not need to know who voted for who. So it needs to be confidential. It needs to be open for everybody to nominate and be nominated. And it needs to be open for everybody to serve that wants to serve. However they collect votes, and again, we recommend hard copy. We're not gonna tell them they have to do hard copy. They need to keep a copy of those votes or the results. This process is totally complete. That way, there's no questions. If, you know, somebody questions halfway through the process, are you really sure the votes for the 2 highest voting candidates? We need to be able to prove that. I would recommend at least 3 people count these votes. I'm not saying anybody's gonna do anything wrong, but you don't want anybody to have the opportunity to accuse somebody of doing something wrong. You want to be above board through this whole process. So we recommend at least 3 people count the votes, and those votes are kept, or those ballots are kept until the process is complete. Any questions about teachers? Here's a question. I will take the upfront you with this. Okay, here's a big question. Who's a teacher? Who's a teacher? Are central office people's teachers? Are assistant principals teachers? Are guidance counselors teachers? Are librarians teachers? The law does not say. The law does not say, and there is no opinion of the attorney general either.
Teacher certification.
So we allow the KEA president to make that determination. Sometimes they only include classroom teachers. Sometimes they include everybody that's certified, except it's very clear the principal can't serve because they're already represented. It's very clear that the outgoing superintendent can't serve. But who is a teacher? And I always put that out there for you. We allow KEA to make that determination. Okay? And whoever they say, that's how we roll with it. Because the process we use, the cream of the crop comes to the top no matter who's serving on this committee, okay? Be honest with you. So it really doesn't make any difference to us what the KEA does, okay? On that, but I will communicate that with them soon when they get the process rolling.
Now, you're saying KEA, do you mean UCEA or local chapter?
Your local chapter. Your local.
Okay. So they're UCA members.
And I would assume if, like, UCEA is organizing it, but it would be open to all teachers, not just UCEA members.
Yes.
So for all teachers, you do not have to be a member of the UCEA to be serving this capacity.
I would kind of probably prefer the principal, not, if it ends up being a classroom teacher, not being from the same school, I don't know. I kind of,
Be different, just have a writing.
But we can't control that.
If they elect if they elect 2 representatives from teachers, so one of them would be, one would not be, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
'Cause they
agree
got
with
2
you.
teachers.
Ideally, every school should.
yeah,
be
I feel like,
But we can't,
Yeah.
you can't,
It'd be nice if they
the
could.
law doesn't allow that that you specify that.
so, we look at it from a
You're
teacher's
saying have distributed
standpoint.
representation.
So like, how do you draw the interest to say, you just write somebody's name and put it in a, or is this all gonna be done, like you said, on Google survey or whatever?
That'll be up to the KEA.
I like what he said about recommending hand ballots. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what we recommend, but we can't mandate that.
I know, that's up to you.
yeah, I mean, I kinda like it too.
Person, or the KEA person.
I'm just curious, I may get asked how, you know, kinda how you get nominated, you know, for it, so.
Any teacher can nominate any teacher that they think, and most of them are going, like he said, they're gonna nominate people who they think are gonna be fair and not biased and things like that normally. You may have some others, but there's gonna be enough people on that committee. And then the nice thing is, if you don't feel like it, as a board, you still got that option, you 5 get to choose.
That's right.
Right,
Who you're
I
gonna pull in
understand that
anyway.
ultimately,
But as
that's
far
what
as
it is.
who's elected to that, they're elected by their classification, whether it's teacher or classified or principal. And you hope that they nominate the best person, right? But I think
Well,
that
they
would-
Two teachers, correct?
yeah, and it happens, if it makes you feel better, we have to do this all the time for like our sick day bank. And certified evaluation panels, different like that, but we've always had stellar people to serve on those. They don't elect somebody that they think would be. not
Well,
interested.
that's the only reason I said that, cause as my seat, I'm gonna value their opinion.
Right. Need to
I'm
respect
just
it.
curious the process of how we get there, you know?
Right.
I think everybody understands how big a decision this is, and whatever group we're talking about, they're gonna
Somebody
want the best people serving in that capacity, because they're going to work for them too. So, you know, they're looking out for the best candidate. Should-
I'm sure at each school, I mean, I'm sure, like Julie probably knows the ones that are heavily involved or, you know, that would have interest, but I just can't remember their name now.
Whenever you go through the nomination process and you pick a deadline for nominations to cease, it says, are those candidates before the ballots are sent out? Do they ask them, are you willing to serve?
Should.
And take them off if
should.
they're not?
Yeah, 'cause there will be some that says, I don't want to be involved.
We don't wanna waste a bunch of votes on somebody.
And that's kinda what I meant
They
with
should-
Julie,
they
like, she
should-
probably
they should
knows the teachers
contact-
that are involved.
Local KEA president, UCEA president should contact every one of them, say, you've been nominated, are you okay to be on the ballot? Good.
That's my 2 recommendations. I like your hard copy paper ballots. That's what I would encourage her or he. Who's our?
Julia Baird,
Ms.
it's
Baird.
Ms. Baird.
And then also to make sure that they're willing to serve before the teachers.
I would say she would probably do all that.
So what's the likelihood, like the middle school and high school, obviously there's a lot more, is there more staff there versus the elementary school? So I mean, like previously, there's more people that are able to vote, correct, in those two places. Does that, I don't know, I'm overthinking it, obviously, but.
Yeah, but you are, because although there's more teachers at Reynolds School and High School, they have other committees they serve on and activities, so a lot of they might be one that says, I decline. Elementaries are very involved, so they would maybe want to serve more, so we'll just have to see how it shakes
I'm
out.
just thinking,
Or it could be on the parent one, if the parent is picked from one of the elementaries, so usually it just kind of works out and you have a good diverse group of, population.
Plus, you're gonna see here in a moment, there's probably gonna be a parent representative from the elementary that not gonna come from the high school, middle school, and you'll see why.
Yeah,
Most
because-
likely, okay?
Because the make of that, how you pull them in, because they don't have PTO usually in high school.
Good thought process, though, yeah. Ideally, you would have probably a representative from each level somewhere, but it doesn't always work out that way. And we really don't have any control with that.
And
You
some
can't-
are,
You can't control it.
right, and some of the teachers, although they may be in high school right now, they may have taught elementary last year.
yeah, I mean,
So
at the end of the
sometimes-
day, it really doesn't matter, as long as they're.
Oh, yeah, it
good
does
by-
matter. Jeez, now.
Well, I mean, as
I'm
far
nervous
as-
wreck over here, that
as
all
the-
matters,
as
but.
the voting, well, you're right, we may be like, listening to them, be like, who voted for this fool?
Well, let's hope not.
Sorry.
And then what about, thank you, Brady, are you gonna be able to communicate, have I shared accurate information that you'll be able to communicate with them? And I'm a phone call away, I mean, usually, we talk a lot in this process.
Right.
Classified. So this typically falls upon you. Okay? So, same thing, you'll send out a notice, we have a sample notice for classified on the same sheet of paper right here, it's classified. That you can choose to use for your reason, use your own words. Again, it needs to be where everybody has the opportunity to serve, that wants to serve, everybody has the opportunity to be nominated, that wants to be nominated, it needs to be confidential. Paper ballots, what we recommend again, however you decide to do it, it's fine with me. So, all classified, so every building will need a notification. Central office will have classified people as well as bus drivers. Okay. Now, I don't know how your staff receives communication. Here's what I would anticipate. Most of your staff probably read email. However, I would think there's gonna be a few classified that probably don't. Okay? Because of that, if you're gonna communicate it, I would probably send it out by email. And I would also put a hard copy in the office of each building with exactly what you sent out on email. So that everybody has the opportunity to know that this is taking place and they can nominate themselves or somebody else about the election. This happened, not with one of my schools, but it happened somewhere else. There was to notify the bus drivers, they notified them over the radio on the afternoon route. How many of the bus drivers do you think heard the notification? Not many. So, that doesn't need to be done, okay? So, it needs to be.
We can go meet with them.
Okay. So, and then, you're probably going to see those ballots from each of the schools and each of the buildings. I would have at least 2 people with me when I count those, just to protect yourself, so nobody can say, hey, Evan, he didn't like this person, so he agreed. Okay, so you don't want that even as a possibility. We know that wouldn't take place, but you don't want the ability to be accused of that. Any questions about that? You don't need a contact person in each of the buildings, to actually have, depends on how you do the ballots. If you do hard ballots, you're gonna have somebody who's the buildings to collect those ballots in a box. If you do it with technology, then it'll probably all come to your inbox, however that works, with Google survey, whatever you use, okay? Parents. So here's where it comes in, that you're probably gonna have an elementary parent, probably. Doesn't have to. Any parent of a child enrolled in Union County schools can be nominated. Okay? But only the PTO/PTA president vote on those. And that's, the law is very specific. It says here,
First sentence.
one parent elected by the presidents of parent-teacher organizations of the schools in the district. So most likely, your high school probably doesn't have PTO, that's what I'm assuming, or the middle school probably does.
Middle school just has, they've had new one.
They do? Okay. So the high school, a high school parent can serve on the committee, but there will be nobody voting from the high school because they don't have PTO or PTA. That's the reason why I said more likely you don't have a parent. It could be a popular high school parent that gets elected. So, how do we get nominations for this? Again, this kind of falls back to you. I would think most of your parents, most of your parents receive communication from the principals daily, weekly,
And we have one call system.
and a one-call system. As long as the parents get the same information, so again, there's sample wording on that sheet of paper for parents. You don't have to use this, but if you choose to, you can. But if principals send out something, they need to send out the same communication, so it probably needs to come from you. Say, you need to send this out for your communication, and then if you do a one-call, nominations would probably, depends on how you want to, go into the schools, and the schools send them to you, or they can come to you, whichever way you want to. Probably go to the schools, and the schools bring them to you, because the parents are gonna go to the schools, they're not gonna come and sit along. Okay, so, then prepare a ballot, and communicate to the presidents of the PTOs or PTAs, they need to select a date they can get together to elect a parent. Okay. So, there's all the committee members and how we recommend it take place. Some of that is law, some of it's our recommendations. Again, it's your committee.
I got a question about this PTO, PTA. I'm sure you're talking about just basically four people who are gonna vote for this parent.
The presidents.
What if there are 4 nominations and a 4-way tie? Two.
They can't come out of the room until they elect one person.
Okay, we're going to do it now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm sure.
That's a good question.
That's a very few number of votes
Yeah,
for that.
it is. They just gotta come, they just gotta make that decision.
They'll work it out.
So what if the parent is certified as class captain?
Good question. Good. Okay.
Similar to site-based.
What I think is the intent of the law was that it be a parent that's not a staff member, but it does not say that. So, I don't, my interpretation doesn't mean anything. So, if they are a staff member and a parent, they can still serve as a parent. Yeah. Yes, they can serve as a parent if they're classified or classified. And that happens in a lot of districts. Because they're active. Because they're usually active with the child's education most of the time. So, yes. It doesn't, because they're just a staff member, doesn't take care of the right away the parent. Good question. Any other questions?
How much? So we'll have to do that.
Well, if one of the, so on the minority, since we have 9% minority, if one of those that have been, is not elected as a minority, we would need to do a minority election, right?
Minority, it has to be a parent. Okay. And the parent is the minority. If they're a foster parent and they have minority children, that's the parent has to be the
parent.
minority. So, that comes back to this, so I'm looking at Evan again, okay, and I apologize for it, but he's my go-to person here right now. So, we meet again on March
7th.
7th. So, I would suggest that at least by probably February the 28th. That gives basically 4 weeks. I'd say by February 28th, everybody needs to have their people in place. That way, if we have to have a special election, the minority parent, it gives us a week to do that. If everybody can get their people in place prior to the 28th, that would be even better, okay? But you pretty well need to give everybody a deadline, because you don't know if the original 6 will have a minority or not, okay? And you gotta give yourself time to have a special election. And it's a parent, so it takes a little communication going out. If none of the original 6 are a minority and we have to have a special election, I'll be in communication with you to give you the wording that will go out, that you can use to go out. Okay. So, I would probably, when you talk to the KEA president, when you talk to the principals, won't be a problem, the board won't be a problem, you'll be getting classified. And when you talk to the PTA presidents, they need to have somebody in place at the very latest. Okay, any other questions about committee members? I think I covered everything on that, but I'll mention that. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is number 7, charge the committee. So, when you come back, when we meet again on March the 7th, one of the things you're gonna give the board chair, Ms. Button, is gonna read, she's gonna read the charge to the committee, the screen committee. One of the things in the charge is you will recommend back X number of candidates. So it's usually decided tonight, how many candidates you want them to recommend. I will tell you, and I was talking to Ms. Shepherd today on the phone, the number of applicants since COVID has decreased a lot. I guess I'm blaming on COVID, everything else is blaming on COVID. So I'm not gonna blame it on COVID. Most of my schools prior, or districts prior to COVID, we get 15 to 20 applicants. I'm seeing 10 to 12. This district may have 20, I don't know. May have 10. There's no way of knowing. So that's the reason why I tell you that, because a lot of the boards say, well, it depends on how many candidates we have, how many we want to recommend back to us. There's no way of knowing, all right? Typically, this number is anywhere from 3 to 5. Usually it's on the lower end if there's fewer candidates, higher end if there's 20 candidates. You can give a range. You can say from 3 to 5. That gives the committee, because what happens sometimes when this committee gets to working, and let's say you say 4, I'm just using 4, and there's only 3 really good applicants. They struggle sometimes with saying, well, the board really said that we gotta have 4, so we've got to come up. We got 3 really good ones. We're just gonna throw this one in because they said you gotta have 4. All right.
Doesn't the committee have the option to just recommend 3 if it says you want 5 or whatever?
That's gonna be up to the board, what the board says. The board says, no, we gotta have X number, that's the number they're gonna come up with. That's the reason why I said you can have a range if you want a range.
I like the range,
The
from 3 to 5,
range, we
something
can
like
pass
that.
the range.
What if we say, if we have 10 or less candidates, we need 3, if we have 15 or more, we want 5? Be more specific about that.
That's up to the board.
More doesn't mean better. I mean, I'm good either way, but I like that, giving that committee leeway.
I just, 10 or less gives us the top 30%, and 15 or more.
I would hate
Top
though,
15.
like if you had top 10,
30%.
but they're what if they had 4? I would like a range, just no matter what, 3 to 5. That's what I would like.
Yeah, I mean, say 3.
I mean, you might have 3 people apply,
Yeah, you might.
but I like to have the option of
Oh,
5,
okay.
because if 10 applied, then,
Yeah.
you know,
5's too many in that case.
I'd say 3 to 5.
Three to five.
I agree on that.
Even at 10, you want 5 possibly.
Well,
if they deem necessary.
I guess if we leave that range open, like you said, if you say 10, we're comfortable with 3. We, like you said, you're answering the question, we don't know how many, what if 25 apply?
And the bottom line is, you're gonna pick how many interview anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna pick it.
So they only interview 3, even if they give you
Will we
5.
see all applicants? Okay.
The
Yes.
night you have that
Yes.
second joint meeting
Yes.
You'll see.
on March the 28th, the entire board will get all applicants. Everything that the screen committee's been working with, you'll get all that. So, in electronic form. As a password, so I'm hearing charts committee is 3 to 5 candidates. Number 8, again, here comes confidentiality back. It's gonna be confidential. Because like I said, only the person at KSBA and I know who the applicants are until we start calling for references. But typically, we allow, all 5 of you could say the same thing in a little different version, and the media could take it a little different, okay? So we ask you.
She's very factual.
I know, I'm picking her because we know a lot of the same people, so.
Very
And some people she knows, I know, wow. I'm just kidding. You usually want one spokesperson because it comes out the way it's supposed to come out. If you got 5 people saying something, it can come out different. And you're saying the same thing, but it's taken different. So, usually that's full chair. I can't mandate that. If you want, if all 5 of you want to say something tonight when you leave here, you're free to do it. You're board members, you're elected by your constituents, and you have the voice to say anything you want to say. We just think it's best if you have one spokesperson that will speak to publicly about this process.
Jennifer? You wanna do that, please?
That kind of a consensus that.
So you're saying after each meeting?
Well, there won't be much to say. There's not gonna be, after the screening phase, you talk about, probably the questions may come in when you start your interview process.
And it probably would have.
Media may, or public. It's gonna start asking questions.
Oh, you're gonna, I mean, public's already asking questions.
And the media, because people wanna know.
Yeah, right.
So you might wanna just refer them to this question, if you know what to say. And also, again, you know who you're talking to, I mean, some people don't think they'll answer, you might tell them something.
Right.
Even if they
Well,
can't say anything.
I've already had people asking the process, I was like, I'm kinda learning that as we go right now, but, you know. And I'm fine talking about, you know, like, we're having meetings over and different, but as far as names, when it gets down to those few names to me, and that decision we have to make, I want it to be between us 5 and not the public, know what's going on, you know? Cause I don't want outside chatter, coming in, I wanna make the best decision for you and county at the end of the day, and the kids here.
Now you,
May I say something about that? So you know. Once people are called for interviews, the pipeline starts. And we've gotten phone calls in our business during a process like this of people saying, well, my son has been called for an interview, can you tell me about the community, or can you tell me about the Board of Education? So it's not gonna be a secret. And, we got one call where a father called to tell us his son had just gotten a call saying he was chosen as superintendent. So it's not something that's gonna be a secret, you can do the best you can.
Well, I hope
It's a
that
pipeline.
final 3 is confidential. I know it's gonna get out who applies, who interviews, who goes through the screening, but maybe that last few, and it may be impossible. I won't say nothing to nobody, but
She's right, though, the candidates can tell anything.
I
They
think
can
that's what
say,
it
hey,
says.
I've applied.
The
There's
candidates'
no
families
confiden-
might
there's-
tell.
The confidentiality does not apply to
We
the
don't have to.
candidates. They
And
can-
not
they can-
only that,
Their
but when
families
you
will
get
tell.
into some of these communities, if you have someone who's a superintendent someplace else, or a principal someplace else, or an assistant superintendent someplace else, and they apply, your local newspaper people are gonna be dialing each other. We have a directory.
It happens.
And we, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I've done it.
Speed dial.
Well,
So just, I mean, I just want you to know
Yeah.
that you
yeah, and I
can't,
get that too.
you don't have the confidentiality that you think you do. You all do your best to have confidential
And that's all you can do.
conversations.
That's all you can
And
do.
that's all your charge is,
right,
but you
right.
can't do anything about the public,
The-
the newspapers, or,
Yeah, it's
Family
small
members.
town living, I mean, it's, I mean, in a small community like this, people, you know,
and then
They
when
like
you
it,
start
yeah.
calling those references, you've got those people who talk.
Mhm.
And it's I got a call today about Bill Jones, who's applied for superintendent in Union County. Did you know that?
And that's the screening
So-
committee should be taking all
Yeah.
those notes into.
yeah, and I mean, you know, it's gonna leak out, I agree with you, but towards that final end, you know, when it narrows down.
And the other part of this process is pretty nice and important.
First
You're not
one.
gonna know who's applied, so they can ask what they want until March the 28th.
Yeah.
All the board members gonna know who's applied.
Is
is
on-
the screening committee.
And the other nice out is board members, it's personnel, you can't discuss it. So that's
So
a
you
nice.
can obviously say, I have no idea who's applied,
Yeah.
up to that point, 'cause you're not gonna, know, unless you're on the screen. So, you know,
Well,
they may think you're lying, but you're not. You won't know.
Right.
I'll get that in the paper that you won't know.
Chad
Hagan will not know, do
Please
not
do
call
that.
Chad Hagan.
Don't call it, don't text
Don't
it.
call him, don't text me, don't flag him down at all.
Well, March 28th, they're gonna start calling.
Yeah.
It's at least a March 28th.
Got a little bit of time.
So you're saying like, if I get
This
real
one.
antsy and I'm like,
This would be
man,
nice
it's
for the
driving me
others
crazy,
in
I
the
can't make
Sturgis
it to
names.
March 28th, who's applied, I can call Miss Catlin, she's like, yeah, I done
I mean,
talked
this
to
is-
them.
I'll let
Any
you tell you
time
about
run
what I
too.
found out.
That way the time running all
And
that.
once it's
That's what you call
posted,
investigative
once
reporting.
Michelle posts it tomorrow, all the media will pull it off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just
then
do
all
it.
the timelines will be posted. That'll be good.
So when we meet back. March 7th.
Mhm.
Next meeting at 5:30.
Yep.
All board members will need to be here, and like I said, it will be a very short meeting. We give the charge to them, and then we'll talk about a few things. I will give, at that time, I'll have how many is applied,
Still gotta do this.
male, female, state, in-state, what their current positions are, central office principals, superintendents, whatever, that information will be shared, and it'll be shared publicly, because that's public knowledge. And then that meeting adjourns, and the screening committee stays and starts the process of going through the applications. Okay, so I just, for your planning purposes, your next meeting will be very short.
Will we all need to prepare something to give them this charge?
No, I'll prepare it, and I make a copy, and I give it to the board chair as well, and the board chair reads it.
So what's
I
included,
prepare it based on what you shared with us tonight.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, where are you basing that off of?
The candidate criteria that you've given me, the number of applicants, those are the main, and the dates. Those will be included in the charge, and the confidentiality.
The number of applicants, meaning how many
How many years they
to
will
come out of the screen?
3 to 5, yeah.
what's the application package look like? Is there a standard application and then they submit a resume and then?
There's 5 parts to it, there's the application, there's a resume,
Questions.
You put me on the spot.
The 8
Well,
questions.
eight
I was wondering
There's
what our,
8
what our
questions.
committee will be evaluating. what
There are 8
types of
questions, and those 8 questions are probably the most important part of the application, because it gets into how they think, and what they believe, and how situational, how they would react in a situation. And those, and you'll get to read those as well as board members when you get them. With the 5 parts to it, and those
Letter recommendation.
letter recommendations. What I found it, so.
I've helped superintendents do a lot, so the 8 questions are most critical.
They're very, for me, they're very thought-provoking questions, tell a lot about.
These are standard that your office develops, and the same
Same,
for every
same
single
8
search.
for any superintendent application that goes out there in the state, KSBA. Good question. Anything else? I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. My notes are in the last time.
I've been taking notes of all this, so
Yeah.
this is a job like to have a copy of all this.
Kevin's not playing.
Edmund, can you send that to me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Evan's the real deal, told you.
Ms. Shepherd, will this district have a minority member if there's not one
If
elected?
there's not already one elected, we'll have a
Okay,
special election
I
for that.
wasn't sure about the percentage.
Because we're 9%, so yes, 9 point, yes, we're over 8%. Because it's all minority. So it has to be over 8. But if one is elected in one of those other positions, you will have to have a special election.
What do you think, Ms. Abby?
Like it's a long process.
And we have had people say, I can't believe you said in January, like it takes 6 months. I mean, you need at least 5 to 6 months, not to be rushed.
And if the new superintendent has the ability to come in and work with you, that makes it even better for you, towards the end of their contract, or whatever they're working on.
And it's hard if they're a sitting superintendent now, but I'll work with them if we have to do Saturday and Sundays in June, because I'll have everything ready. We'll have their year plan, PD, everything, then it's walking.
All right, does anybody have any questions about what we've discussed?
Thanks, Evan.
Yeah,
Good
thank
job.
you, Mr.
Do
Jackson.
they need to approve that?
Yes, it's on there. Does everybody have time to read this? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent search plan?
So moved.
Ms. Martin made the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gatton made a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Hagan made the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Martin made a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Nice to meet everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
nice to meet
Thank
you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.